All right, so what you guys didn't see beforehand was this. I've got amazing powers now. And anytime I want to, I can do this. Check this out. All right, so
This is
I can speak to you as this.
Marvel's the HockeyBuzzcast, and Ak is the Human Torch.
Yeah, this is great. When I was the anonymous hockey blogger, this would have been awesome.
It would have been.
I mean, I could have gone on shows all the time like this. This is really weird. I don't know why.
This is what I was hoping to get when I used to order those 3D glasses out of the back of the comic books.
Right.
No,
right.
I like to make an announcement.
X-ray glasses, not 3D. X-ray. Sorry.
I'd like to make an announcement. I will not be on the webcast tomorrow if Eklund is the host because Eklund has personal animosity against me.
Why?
No, I'm just mimicking Donald Trump, saying
yes.
he will not go on the Fox debate.
Thank you. That's very nicely done. Very nicely done.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm going to come back to this real world. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
It's a little distracting.
It's a little distracting, but at any time, if I want to say something secretive, I'll just go to that.
Although, I'll tell you this. You'll never have a bad hair day on that look.
I know, and I have a bad hair day on this look today, so hey.
At least you have hair.
Hey, look, I'm in the club.
I know.
It's like here, before, cut to me, during, and there's after.
Oh, man. I know. So this is an undisclosed location, or otherwise known as my kitchen. But a new place that I've never done a show from. So.
Are you making the ceviche while the show is going on?
No.
He's at a CIA black site.
I know. And I will be in Nashville on Friday. Tomorrow we'll be doing the show again from here. Not from the kitchen, but hopefully from the studio. Hopefully my computer will be figured out by then. But not from the kitchen. But yes, so just the only thing about
do it again from the kitchen. Maybe put an apron on.
Right. The one thing about my kitchen that's really funny is over there there's a fish tank that's constantly running. So you get that feeling of like you've got to go to the bathroom at any point, like because you're just constantly like a trickle of constant running water over there.
Are those fish that you're hoping to cook someday? Or?
No, those are living, breathing, happy members of our family.
Okay.
But, yes. On the other side is the snow, and this weather which is just we got through the blizzard, but now is just completely and utterly horrible for the ice rink.
It's like 50 degrees out there.
Yeah, the ice rink is just I don't know. I think we skated on it twice this year. It's gonna be a lot of work for nothing. And my whole like old man in the sea, Hemingway-esque journey to try to keep it alive has been very, very daunting. You just can't beat Mother Nature.
When it doesn't get cold enough, it's tough.
Yeah, it does. And, you try to keep it out of the sun. And you try to do everything you can. Like the question was, are we going to shovel the 20-some inches of snow off of it? Will that be good for it? If it gets warm, it's not the best thing for it. You want to kind of keep it insulated. So we kept it insulated until the snow got wetter. At which point we had to shovel it off. At which point it was really hard to shovel, which was stupid on my part. The whole thing was just completely ridiculous.
Now you see the job that Dan Craig has to do.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah. I mean, I would love to have an actual coils under the ice and not just relying on Mother Nature's God. But it's still fine. Yeah, it's definitely keeping ice outside is very hard, and it's kind of like by the time I get out there to skate on it with the kids, I'm like, enjoy it, damn it. My daughter actually said to me the other day, because we don't have a pool, because my whole theory was we'd have an ice rink and not a pool, because everyone has a pool. So not everyone, but in this neighborhood. My kids' friends are always going to pool parties. I'm like, we have the winter part now. We've got the ice rink. So my daughter thinks now, my wife's argument for pool is way too much work. But we actually think an ice rink is way more work than a pool, which I think it is probably true. But that's
true. I mean, with a pool, really, you got an automatic skimmer. You might have to add some chlorine unless you got a pool guy. It's not a lot of work.
Right, it's not. What someone needs to do, though, in Canada, and I would buy this completely, and I'm sure a lot of Canadians would do this too, that's the last thing I'll talk about before we start the show, is, the iRobot, the Roomba type thing, why isn't there a Zamboni version of this for your ice rink? that would be amazing. I mean, something that just goes around your rink, and just blaze water every couple minutes.
I guess it could be like a drone. Yeah.
Yeah, like a drone, like these robots that clean your carpet. I would love one of those. I mean, that's got to be coming.
By the way, I was in Best Buy yesterday. I was getting like a security system for my car, and I saw they were selling drones, and like the top end drone was like $1,300.
Oh yeah, no, they're up there now, but they're also amazing. I mean, you could shoot like literally the Super Bowl with those $1,200 drones. I mean, they are crazy good.
But don't you have to get a license from the federal government now for that?
Yes.
You do for certain kinds of drones in certain areas. You're supposed to, at least. Of course, people aren't going to get one until they have to, but you're supposed to get one. Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Zamboni would be much safer.
Oh my gosh, I think it would be such a cool invention. Come on, Canada, someone. I'll back you. I'm already in. I'll be a backer. Just like put a Kickstarter together for your instant automatic backyard Zamboni. It'd be so cool. All right, let's begin the show. It is the 27th, Wednesday. 1 second.
He's checking to make sure.
Yes, while I have to pass our condolences on to the family of Abe.
He stopped it because he had to have a Dr. Pepper with 100 different ingredients. Oh, it's a Coke. Okay, I thought it said Dr. Pepper. All right.
No.
Abe Vigoda, the noted character actor who was in one of my favorite comedies of the 1970s, Barney Miller.
Yeah.
And also in The Godfather and a few other movies, passed away at the ripe old age of 94. And all I can say is, I hope I make it to 94.
Oh, yeah, when you're at 94, and that's like...
I've got an Abe Vigoda story. I never met the guy.
Wow, you got an Abe Vigoda story. Who would have thought that?
But I never met the guy. The thing is, in the 90s, when I first started writing more than I was doing my job at work, which was the hotel business, I was working on a comic book with a good friend of mine. And one of the characters I created was this Jewish character called Throwback, and he had the power of guilt. and we started writing a screenplay for it. And so the talk was in the 90s, hey, Abe Vigoda would be perfect for this part. But our thought was, he'll never make it. By the time the screenplay's out, he'll probably pass on. So I was worried about him passing away in the 90s.
90s. 30 years ago, 20 years ago now. I don't know. That's incredible.
I don't know if it was on the webcast or just a conversation I was having with some friends, but I think we mentioned Abe Vigoda's name, and they thought he was already dead, and I looked it up on...
People did. They've been thinking he's dead for years, and it just wasn't true. It was one of those internet hoaxy things, but the comic did come out, and we never contacted Abe, and it never made it to the big screen, so there you go.
There you have it. Also, for those paying attention, we're going to be doing some sort of meetup on Friday night in Nashville somewhere. So I'm going to get together with Paul McCann, who's our Predators blogger, and Kevin Allen, and we're all going to...
I'll send my representative.
Yes.
I'll be there in spirit, so have some chicken wings on me.
Yeah, somewhere we're going to be watching the country band and talking. So just stay on my Twitter. I'll let you guys know. All right, let's start the show. The 27th of January. Yes. Why not? Hello, Hockey World. It's Wednesday. Is it? Oh, man, it's not. It is.
It is.
I'm sorry. It's been a week, folks. Whew. All right, starting again. Hello, Hockey World. It's Wednesday, January 27th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Eklund and embarrassed, but thankful for you guys for doing the show for the last couple of days. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very greatly. And hopefully we'll be Friday's show will be later in the day. It won't be because I'll be traveling Friday down there. But it won't be that. Probably around dinner time or something like that. We'll figure it out. But this is the HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com, and you're watching the podcast that comes to you every afternoon during the week that kind of fills you in on the hockey comings and goings around and tries to kind of keep you up to date on all the fun things that are happening. And lots of fun things are happening now as we get closer to the trade deadline, and lots of rumors are indeed a-swirling. And as of today, as I'm reading on Reddit, the 7 Canadian teams are among the 9 worst teams in the NHL in terms of point percentage. This is a low point in Canadian team hockey right now that we've hit. I don't know that in our lifetime that we could ever say that something that has happened. I mean, this is bizarre. But let's, and I don't want to get too crazy about the Montreal Canadiens, but
you have to. What do you mean?
You do it. It's reached a point of bizarreness. I mean, of really just like
5-19.
Yeah. And they're losing to terrible teams. I mean, and they're losing to bad. They're not winning any games. And
And they lost Pacioretty, right? He went out with an injury.
No, but they said it wasn't serious. He'll probably be back. But I think last night was their last game before the All-Star break. So he'll have a week to recover. Although wasn't he selected or was he selected?
I think he was selected.
Yeah. So maybe this affects. Maybe this affects his availability.
Oh, I think it does. I think it does for sure.
The coaching availability is the one thing that Montreal is probably looking at right now because, again, and I think, I always say big things always happen at the Winter Classic, good and bad. And you can go back and look at it, Eck, and it's every year. And this year, like the demise of the Montreal Canadiens seemed to be starting at the Winter Classic.
Despite an incredible performance by the Canadiens at the Winter Classic. Despite the fact that they looked like they were getting everything back together.
It did, but I just go back to the post game where the coach was just leading up to that game, just making a lot of excuses for bad play, and even though that worked out for him, ever since then, I don't know what their record is since the Winter Classic, but it isn't good.
No, it's horrible since the Winter Classic. I mean, it's because if you take that one out, you're at 4 wins, right. I think, in that period of time. Someone texted me that as of now, there's a 56.5% chance that Austin Matthews will be going to a Canadian team. How about that? 56.5%.
Strong enough odds for me to even worry about it.
Yeah, and what that shows you is a couple things. It shows you where the Canadian teams are, but it also shows you that the new system is you can't tank automatically and win this thing because that even though you have right now 9, you have 7 of the bottom 9 teams, you still only have a 56.5% chance of winning.
Yeah. Well,
because they don't have number 1 or number 3 right now.
Just looking at it, in terms of what's going on with the Canadiens right now, obviously the Carey Price situation, it's going to get to the point now where if they continue to decline, right now Montreal's got 52 points. They're 3 points behind Pittsburgh, 4 points behind Tampa for the wild card spots.
Right.
At the All-Star break. Now, they don't expect Price to be back, or at least be ready to be back until late February, mid to late February.
Right.
If they're out of it, Price is not coming back. They won't risk bringing him back for the last month and a half of the season if their playoff fate has already been sealed. So, right now, in a way, the next 6 weeks, if they do lose, they're a lottery. Not a lottery team in the sense that every team that's a non-playoff team is a lottery team. They're a lottery team like bottom 6 or 7 because they're going down. They're going down as badly as Toronto did in the second half last year. It's that much of a.
They had the best start in franchise history.
Yes.
It's crazy. If I were able to create shows on the fly, just like in the spirit of 24, I would have like Montreal 24. And, and you'd have the tiles when the show starts and you see Mark Bergevin and you see Michelle Therrien and everything would be a split screen because you would have like Carey Price at the rink and you'd be watching him and you'd be watching Therrien pacing back and forth in the locker room and you'd be watching Bergevin working the phones. And to me, it's a crazy story.
Well, the point I'm trying to make from what I was just saying is, Russ, is that they're not going to fire Therrien because there's a benefit.
About that.
Yeah, there's a benefit even if they don't fire him. If they continue to fall like this, they get a lot.
That is not a benefit in their eyes. I know what you're thinking. You don't think like a Leafs guy.
Oh, jeez.
It's a different world we're looking at now. This is not
a benefit.
I'm with Russ on this one. This is not Toronto. This is not a team that accepts this.
I don't think that there is a coach who can turn this thing around to the point that they make the playoffs without Carey Price being available.
Oh, I disagree with that. Let's just say, and there isn't, but let's just say there was a Scotty Bowman type out there. You don't think they could get any better performance to just be in the playoff hunt? That's all we're talking about. We're not saying they need to be back at the top of the division. We're saying they need to be 6 points better. You don't think that's possible? I do. I think it's possible.
I think the failings of the Canadiens are not coaching. I think it's structural. I think the fact that
I don't know. The other day,
their flaws are being exposed because Carey Price is not there.
Yeah, but the other day they played not to lose. They had the lead. They were trying to put that lockdown defense.
Yep.
and Markov makes a mistake and they lose, and then all of a sudden Markov's got to have all these, apologies, and it's like, that's not the strongest part of Andrei Markov's game. Like, that's not, but this is what the coach is asking them to do. Right now, these guys should be trying to outscore teams, not trying to lock down on a 1 or a 2 goal lead.
With what? That's what I mean. With what? You've got a Thomas Buchanan who scored 2 goals in 30-some-odd games.
But there are players there that can score.
Yeah, but Mechanics is not a 2-goal in 30-game player. I mean,
I know that, but that's what he's doing. That's the reality.
What he's doing right now, but that's an anomaly. I mean, that
it is.
And the fact is, a coach could come in and very much change that. This is the perfect situation for a coaching change.
It is.
They got up 2-0 against Toronto in the second period and sat back in a defensive shell 5 minutes into the second period. Why? Because they can't score.
No, that's a coaching decision.
Yeah, that's a coaching decision. No questions about it.
Decision, Mike.
It is. That's a coaching decision because he's making that is a complete Michel Therrien play. I mean, I've seen it before in other situations. He's done it on other teams. This is his play.
I think it's a symptom of the fact that they can't score. That's why. I mean, it's like if you're not confident in your offense, if you don't have a power play that's clicking constantly, then basically you have to play a New Jersey Devils type of shutdown defense and protect.
Right.
But they don't have the goaltending to do that, so it's a misplay from the beginning.
Right. The only way you can get better in a situation like this, and the Ducks did the same thing, and it worked for the Ducks. The Ducks got it back to basics. They went back to saying, okay, we're just going to play simple defensive hockey. We're going to play counterattack hockey, and and it worked for the Ducks because the Ducks have the goaltender, and the Ducks have talent. They've got are very very easily more offensive talent than the Montreal Canadiens have, but they don't maybe have the whole as much depth as the Canadiens have. But at the end of the day, that was the coaching decision by Boudreau, and probably to save his job, and he pulled it off. This situation, what Therrien's trying to do is the same thing. He's trying to do the same thing that Boudreau did. But the problem with hockey is that hockey is such a sport of confidence. It's so incredible, like the difference between the Columbus Blue Jackets at the end of last year where they couldn't lose and the beginning of this year where they couldn't win is simply confidence, right? The players are all the same. It's just a matter of, okay, it's confidence. It comes down to confidence. And now, now things are different with Tortorella and everything's changed. But that, right now, the confidence, the only ways you can change confidence is quite often, making a trade often does it. That's what happened in Pittsburgh. They bring in Hagelin, and Pittsburgh it's not, not like Hagelin's the savior, but he is really the savior right now. And Pittsburgh has jump-started everything, right? You can bring in a new goalie, which they're not going to do because they've got Carey Price and they're bringing in stopgap goalies, or you got to bring in a new coach, and that changes the confidence of everybody.
Right.
The question here, why Mark Bergevin comes in and says what he says about how he's not going to fire him this year. I just hate when GMs do that. I think that is such a dumb move, and
I don't believe it. I don't.
See,
yeah,
I do. I do believe it because of what I was just saying. Because the upside is if they get through this, if Price comes back, they're still in the race. They get in the playoffs, and do whatever in the playoffs. If they get by a round, I think probably Therrien keeps his job.
No way! This is the Montreal Canadiens going into this season after what happened to them the last few years. They don't want to just go around in the playoffs.
I know, but we're talking about a team. We're talking about a team that lost in the second round to Tampa Bay last year, raised expectations with a ridiculous start, and then reality set in. Russ, I mean, like, maybe his fate is sealed one way or the other. But what I'm saying is, it's the upside is they make the playoffs. The downside is with Therrien, they get themselves a high first-round pick and a good draft.
Here's the thing. I forget about the pick in the draft for a minute. You've got a guy like P.K. Subban. Why isn't he having him shoot the most shots on the team? He's the most talented player on that team. Just like he scored that goal the other day, I would take him aside and say, I want you to shoot at every available possible time. I want you to be aggressive out there, but not aggressive to the point where you get the penalty for, like the other day when he scored the goal, but just take over the game. And they haven't really put him in that position, and they should be. Because at this point, other than a coaching change, PK Subban is the only other guy that could really put life into this team.
No, I completely agree. I think that's the only option they have right now. I think that I just don't see. I'm sorry, bad echo. Is that me? Hello? Maybe it's me. I don't know. My computer might be funky.
It's gone now. It's gone now.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I don't see this Montreal team getting better with Carey Price and net. It's in every. I mean, of course they're better, but I don't see them suddenly becoming a real contender, because where they could have gone all year and maybe been that, but their confidence is still so shaky. This team set out with I talked to somebody at the beginning of the year, one of the players. The motivation this year was to prove. Oh shoot, am I freezing up?
Yep. Yeah, your video's frozen. We can still hear you.
Okay, all right. The motivation this year for them was to prove that they could win without Carey Price. That was like the Montreal Canadiens thing, right? And here we are, and they've got they can't win without Carey Price.
They proved otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, so they've gone the opposite direction, right? Which is terrible for them. They really have put themselves into an awful spot.
They proved what most people saw in them is the fact that
they did it, but it's absurd in a way because look at what they were doing. I mean, and it goes to prove so many different things. Like the whole concept of offense comes from good goaltending, which I've always believed in. Is so much proven here. Their offense was so good in the beginning of the year.
It's the confidence and the ability to take that extra chance because you have a generational talent in goal. It's the same thing as Buffalo in the late 90s when they had Hasek. You could have guys like Mike Pekka and Curtis Brown and Vaclav Varada, who were average offensive players, take that extra chance because they knew Hasek would steal saves at the other end, and that's the problem. They can't beat you on talent alone. Their talent base, other than guys like Pacioretty and Subban, is average. That's what I'm saying. There are 500 teams.
Galchenyuk is above average. Like, stop. Here's the thing.
This is just like throwing raw meat into a bunch of dogs. Like, here you go, Montreal Canadiens.
Carey Price is true, but then what you're also telling me is that Michel Therrien got to be a very lazy coach because basically he would throw Carey Price out there and the rest would happen. If that's the case, then you definitely need to get rid of him because this is the chance for the coach to actually bail out the season, and he's failing miserably.
Yeah. I don't like being put in the position of defending Michel Therrien.
You are, so do it.
I know, but the thing is, it's like I think that the reason that they're failing right now is because Carey Price is not there and because their talent is average. I think they overachieved 2 years ago. They got to the conference final.
They need a lead. They need a leader, and they're not getting one.
Right.
And they need that leadership has to come from above. That has to come. And this is the problem with Therrien's methodology of scaring a team to win. That you get into this point, the way he always did it, making the team angry at him. He cannot escape this now.
And coaches like him have a shelf life. I mean, that's a reality, and maybe he has reached his. I'm just saying that Bergevin coming out and saying, I'm going to keep him for the rest of the year, if he fires him after the All-Star break, I think it affects Bergevin. He's got a reputation. He's a good general manager. He's a good evaluator of talent. He has made some deals that have been pretty good for that team. But I think he hurts himself if he goes out and he says, okay, I'm going to keep the coach the rest of the year and see where the chips fall, and then he fires him in mid-February. I think he's stuck with Therrien the rest of the year.
Here's what I would do. I would bring up George Burnett, the guy from Hamilton, right, because he's a 26-year veteran. Listen, just hear me out.
Yep.
The players already are talking about Therrien possibly getting fired. We heard Pacioretty say he feels horrible that this could possibly happen. So now if you bring up an older coach that's just been around the block a lot, you might get that Terry Collins effect where you have that older coach in there, and now these players realize, okay, it's on us as much as it is this guy because now we've got something to prove. If you let this season go status quo, it's going down the drain because I don't even have 100% confidence Price is coming back even by the All-Star break. I don't know why I don't have that confidence, but we don't get reports. We don't really know. But it just seems like they're skirting around something, and it does seem like he's late in healing. It does seem like he's behind schedule rather than being ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
But that's the only other thing they could tweak. But I'm telling you right now, if this season goes down the tube, their fans will be like beyond mad, madder than they usually are.
Oh yeah, and they're already really. I mean, they're already pissed off about the whole thing, and this is well, I want to move on, but this is it's a fascinating situation, obviously, because it's Montreal. It's incredibly bizarre on this team that started with the most storied team in the NHL's greatest start in their franchise history. This is a really, I mean, this is about as big a collapse you'll ever see in the NHL, and from just a team that everybody was thinking was going to be okay, they were going to be a playoff team but not great, to being there the best team in the NHL, to being there can't win it all. It's just, this tells me that it's absolute craziness, and I'm sure Mike's hating it. All right, so the TSN coaches poll just came out, and I like this one. This is one of my ones I like because I always like to hear what the coaches are thinking. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. If you look at TSN, you'll find it. .ca. This is Bob McKenzie's story, and the projected Stanley Cup finalists in the TSN coaches poll. In the East, the Washington Capitals got 25 votes. 25 of 30 coaches in the NHL project the Caps to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's the most I've ever seen in this poll. Like, as far as, I don't think they said whether or not, but they've done this poll before, and I don't remember a team ever having 25 of 30 votes. The Lightning had 2 votes, and that was the only other team with multiple votes. So it's as crazy as it sounds. That's really something.
It is crazy. Here, I got the echo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're okay. We don't hear you. We don't hear it. We didn't hear it.
No. All right, maybe it's gone now. Here's the craziness for me in that. If I'm a coach and I'm in a contending position, let's say I'm 10, 12 points behind the Caps, but I think, hey, they're doing great now, but I can beat them in the playoffs, I'm going to vote and say, yeah, the Caps are the best.
Right.
Like, I'm going to try to artificially inflate this. And so I think there's some of that going on, too. Not to say they're not having a great year, because they are. But I think other coaches are sort of doing that.
Yeah, because God knows the Capitals have always been able to deal with playoff pressure, right, Russ? I mean, that.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that's a part of this. I think we have to look at that legitimately and say,
yeah, interesting.
It might be at play.
They've got a lot to live up to. I mean, they're clearly the cream of the crop in the East, no doubt. Holtby is having a Price type of year, or Price Lundqvist type of year. Yep. They're going to probably tinker and add a couple cheap depth moves at the deadline, but you're going to need Ovechkin to show up in the postseason, and you're going to need that defense that Carlson and Alzner and for them to show up, and they haven't shown up as much as expected over the last few years. So they have something to prove.
No, they're the team. And in the West, the Blackhawks have got 15 votes, and the Kings got 11 votes, which is about what I would have expected. Although I would have actually said I think the Blackhawks are actually as dominant as the Capitals are. I think the Kings are getting some kind of rub off of what we've seen from them do in the past in the playoffs. I think a Kings Blackhawks series would be good, but it wouldn't be like what we saw in the past, like a 7-game game. I think the Blackhawks would take them out.
What about that Blackhawks game yesterday? They clearly had the bus double parked and just wanted to go into the break. Like they barely tried in that game, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and I think that's legitimately probably what happened. I mean, the Blackhawks really have very little to play for.
And see the one concern about the Hawks. I mean, obviously Kane is having the season that he's having, and Taves is Taves, and the core group is still there from the team that won last year. But you have to consider that a lot of these, some of the players like Anisimov and Panarin are new to what the Hawks are going to be doing in terms of going into the third round of the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup final, where I think LA has a little bit of an advantage and a little bit of a hunger advantage because they didn't win last year. The Hawks did. The Hawks, you can say, they're going to try to win. They want to win back-to-back Stanley Cups, but internally in their mind, there's sometimes not enough there to motivate a team to win 2 years in a row. Whereas the Kings haven't won. I think that edge is there.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair too, but I think that it's hard to underestimate how good the Hawks are.
So in this coaches poll, did anybody vote John Tortorella?
Yeah, right.
Come on, have some sympathy for him. He has a couple broken ribs.
Yeah, oddly enough, the Stanley Cup winner here was turned out the 16 went with the Capitals and 9 with the Blackhawks. So they're looking at the Caps, and then maybe this could be what you're saying before, just throwing all the pressure on the Caps.
Did Alain Vigneault get any votes?
Did he vote in this poll?
No. They're only showing the top 2? These
are the coaches who polled. These were coaches who were polled. Okay, so.
No, I get it, but do they have like a list of the top 10?
Of the top coaches?
Yeah.
No, this is
it's just team-wise. Okay, so they just say this is what team we think is going to win, and that's it.
Yeah, this is the voting by the coaches. The top coach they did ask other coaches who the best coach was, and they went with Barry Trotz.
They did. Okay.
Who got 15 votes. Gerard Gallant came in second with 5.
Yeah, that's what I want to get at. Okay, read that list. Whatever.
Okay, so they have Trotz with 15, Gallant with 5, Quenneville with 4. They gave Hines a vote, Peters a vote, and Tippett a vote. So that's pretty interesting. Gallant, I do agree. I think that's a great call by coaches to put.
It is a great call, but I think it's also telling when you have guys like a Vigneault doesn't get a vote. You get guys. There's some coaches in there that didn't get votes that.
Yeah.
You would expect. Bruce Boudreau preseason, we would have figured he'd be in there. He's not getting a vote. Some of these coaches that don't get a vote, it's a little telling.
No, I mean, and the Kings. I mean, look right. Look right there. I mean, Daryl Sutter does not get a vote in this thing.
Is it possible for a team to be tied for last place overall and for a coach to get a vote?
Why? Who would you say that would be?
I think Babcock has done a fantastic job in Toronto. There's not a lot of talent there, and he's, up until their January swoon, I think he's done his best coaching job in his career.
I think it's possible that coaches, if they really felt that way, would say it.
Yeah, I think so too. Votes for the best rookie. This is voted by coaches again. Artemi Panarin picks up 12 votes as the top rookie. Dylan Larkin 10. I think that's pretty much how it's going to go down. I think those two are battling.
Very close between those two.
Yeah, those two are definitely battling it out. Although don't count Connor McDavid if he returns and just goes crazy, because he could still be a problem.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard, though. He could, but it's going to be really hard.
Because I think the third player. I mean, Eichel has started to play really well. I mean, the thing is, he only played. I think it was the college season is what 30 to 40 games, Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's reaching that point where he played the same amount of games, and there was a lull about a week or two ago. But the last couple games for the Sabres, he's played really well. Then he gets the All-Star break of over a week. You could see him have a pretty good second half. Not to say that he can overcome the distance between Panarin and Larkin and him, but I think he'll be the third guy in the Calder race.
Well, don't say. Listen, the dark horse there is John Gibson because he's actually still a rookie.
Yeah.
Max Domi got 2 votes as well in this.
Did John Gibson get any votes?
He did not. Eichel got 1 and Gossibier got 1.
I've got to say that the coaches did a bad job here. Is there any other reason Anaheim is in it other than John Gibson?
I think the coaches probably don't realize that he is.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I don't think enough asked because how coaches do this.
Yeah.
You know how this poll was done. This is like done like an intern and grabbed him and said, "Oh, TSN needs get your best coach, best player, best defense."
Yeah, they probably just didn't know because
it wasn't like, oh, wait a second, let me look at John Gibson's stats and see if he's still a rookie.
Because while I'm not in disagreement with Mike about Eichel, I mean, we have to look at Gibson and say, just what is he contributing to that team? And it's everything. Like he's got a .923 save percentage. That's better than guys like Lundqvist. He's got 4 shutouts. He's among the shutout leaders. I mean,
Russ, you don't have to sell me on the qualities of Gibson. I think he's a great young goaltender. I honestly think that what we're talking about in terms of not being aware that he is a rookie might hurt him because not everybody does the research to find out who's a rookie and who's not.
Right.
To tell you how avid Leaf Canadian fans are, by the way, have you guys seen that? Andrew Sedella, who writes part of our who covers along with Jennifer Cutler, cover the Canadiens for us. His latest blog has 2,100 comments on it.
Yeah.
Which is just like, I mean, it's like, it's like anything. When I've got, whenever you get a big comment blog, for the first 4 pages or something, they're talking about what you wrote. But after that, it's just have fans going back and forth with their own complaints to each other, right? So that's what's happening.
If I posted Tabernacle on that, would that stay on there or would that get filtered out?
It's a good question. I don't know. The the best defenseman, Drew Doughty, they're saying. There were 12 votes. Erik Karlsson with 5, Duncan Keith with 3, Ekman Larson 2, Brent Burns 1, Yossi 1, Letang 1. Someone giving Letang a vote. I mean, Letang is played better as of late, but still.
He does. Here's the thing. I like what they've done with Doughty, but I don't like the Erik Karlsson backlash just because he's 1-2. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because, again, offensively, there's nobody close.
Yeah.
I mean, he's way above it. Now, defensively, we'd all agree Doughty's better and Doughty plays more minutes. But it's just, but there is a certain amount of backlash, like, whoa. We can't let Erik Karlsson win another one.
Right. I think agree with that.
And I don't like that. I don't like it because I don't think it should be about that.
But, you know, at the same time, he is just a one. I mean, he's not not just a one player, but you do kind of. There are so many good defensemen in the league. It feels weird for a defenseman to win this award multiple times because there are so many good defensemen. It's hard. Like I think my natural tendency in voting this is the same way. Like, you know, if someone's won it, I'm more leaning towards the guy who hasn't won it because there are so many. We live in an era of a really incredible era of defensemen.
We do.
Well, it's sort of, and I'll make a goofy analogy here, but it's sort of like the Academy Award winners' approach to sports awards. It's like Tom Hanks wins 2 Oscars, but God forbid he has a great performance in a movie. You're not going to give him a 3rd Oscar because he will equal Spencer Tracy. That's like reaching Valhalla. It's ridiculous. If he deserves the award, he deserves the award.
I'm going to play. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go. No, one thing is Erik Karlsson. He's phenomenal offensively, but defensively, sometimes in certain games, like last night against Buffalo, he's below average defensively, and his defense is controlling the puck and rushing it the other way. You know, he's not a great two-way defenseman. I think Doughty's probably going to win it this year because he hasn't won it before, and he's having a great year. But I don't think that not winning it before should be an overriding factor on a guy who's won it twice.
Campaign for Doughty, like from the beginning of training camp, to win this award too. By the way, it just feels like like people have been just singing his praises. He came in incredible shape, all the stuff that we heard about in the beginning. And that's nothing against him. I'm not saying, but people have noticed it. This has definitely been Doughty's to lose, and he hasn't done anything to lose it. So that's how I see it.
Here's the one thing though. So Karlsson, he only has 28 penalty minutes, which is great for the amount of time that he logs to going against the kind of players he plays against. That's a positive, whether you see it as that or not. It's a positive. He is a +3. It's not like he's a minus. What if he ends up with 75 points? He's got 52 points. I mean, what if he ends up with like 18 goals and 75 points?
That's crazy.
Then what?
I know. It's really hard. I'm still of a belief that there should be. I never understood why there was a best defensive forward award and there's not a best defensive defenseman award. I just don't get it. I think we need that. I think we need to be able to give
a Rob Langway award.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I mean, and that you would look to who on this list. Then you start looking at Ryan Suter, and you look at what Shea Weber does. That's
a good reason to do that for sure.
Yeah, I think.
Just a little update here. Elliot Friedman reporting that there's question about Jonathan Toews' status for the All-Star game. He didn't play in the 3rd period last night against Carolina. So that if that's an injury, then he might not be at the All-Star game. And I'm pretty sure Pacioretty was the choice for Montreal. I mean, him sitting out yesterday might be late in the game might be the same situation.
All right, so let's play. Before we go into rumors, I do want to get into rumors. But let's play this out for a second. So if Pacioretty, Subban's going, right? I'm totally confused. PK Subban is going. Subban is going to the All-Star game, so I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about.
I'm not. I'm just remembering off the top of my head, but I'm almost positive it's Subban. But Toews obviously is. So let's see who replaces Jonathan Toews is the question.
Panarin.
Panarin. Mm.
You could do that.
Yeah, you could. I mean,
Sagan and Ben are both going for Dallas.
Right.
Tarasenko for St. Louis. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Tarasenko for St. Louis. Weber, Yossi, and Rene for Nashville. Winnipeg. Was it Bufflin?
Sounds right.
This is terrible, guys. We got
Colorado. I think it was McKinnon or Duchesne. It was Duchesne.
If only there was a way to search for such a thing.
Yeah, look, right. This just shows the.
It shows how little it matters. I agree. I'm not saying it doesn't. I fully agree there.
Yes, we're thinking.
As I search for this, all I'm getting is a entertainment and music lineup announced for the NHL All-Star Game. It's so funny. It's like, come on, guys.
Okay, here we go. I think.
You think?
2000 NHL All-Star rosters. Ready? Here we go. Thank you.
Live webcasts, folks.
It's only, if only we covered hockey. If only I hadn't spent thousands of dollars to go witness this game in a couple days. Holy cow! All right, so the Atlantic Division. Let's go. Okay, the Atlantic Division
first. Yes.
Okay, Bishop and Luongo. Right, we got that. Ekblad, Carlson, and Subban. I was right. Everybody else was wrong.
Yep.
Patrice Bergeron, Yager, Komarov, Larkin, O'Reilly, Stamkos.
Okay, no Pacioretty, so no worries. Sorry, Montreal. I tried to give you one more All-Star than you deserve.
All right, Central Division. Okay, Jonathan Toews obviously is there. Tarasenko, Sagan, Ben, Duchesne, and Kane. Okay, so
I'd say Panarin.
Yeah, I think you have to go with Panarin. Who else is kicking it?
I may have a guy. Hold on.
James Neal.
Yeah, what is Neal doing?
But then there's 4 Preds, and then that's basically pandering.
Yeah, you don't want to do 4 Preds. I think they're already pushing it with 3, because Rene is really not the guy who should be there.
I think it's got to be Panarin because Chicago's first place in the division. You've already got Sagan and Ben from Dallas, who's in second place.
Right. I think that's a good one you should give Chicago one of these because Crawford should be there. To be honest, and you're replacing a Blackhawk too, right? So you're replacing, and defensively, right? So on defense, you do have.
I was thinking, how many points does Panarin have?
I'm looking up the stats right now.
I think he's in the 50s, but I'm not sure.
Just thinking that we do such good research for this show. All right, so let's go through this. All right, the the team, Chicago Blackhawks. Panarin has
46 points. I was close.
All right. I've got somebody comparable.
All right.
What about Alex Steen? Alex Steen's got 15 goals, 42 points for St. Louis. Really having a great year. Never gets the spotlight, ever.
Yeah, but Panarin
is
scoring in the NHL.
Panarin is
12th in the NHL. The 12th leading scorer in the NHL should be in this game, right? Let's go through it. Kane's there, Ben's there, Sagan. This is Carlson's there, Pavelski's there, Paul is there, right? Yeah. Kuznetsov is there. Blake Wheeler, there's a good one. Is he there?
Yeah.
No, that's an interesting one because he's the eighth in scoring.
Yes, but you're also talking about the team that is last in the Central Division.
He's got 48 points.
The points are comparable. And
He's got 48 points versus 46 points. He's played in 4 less games than Panarin.
Yes, but it's the division leader and it's Kane's line mate.
And you're replacing. And you're trying to. I think from selling the NHL, it's really great to have a rookie there, right?
Going Alex Steen. I'm sorry, he's got 15 goals. He's gonna have his best goal year.
Yeah, he's 19th in scoring, right? So he's 19th in scoring. You got that too. That is right there.
Yeah, but he's an ex-Maple Leaf, so he can't do it.
Listen, but this is. I think when you plug in a guy, I think you should plug in a guy that has really sort of earned it. This guy has earned it.
When you're traded for Lee Stempniak, that rules you out of a lot of things.
No, it doesn't.
Can we talk about something that's pretty funny here? It's pretty interesting.
Like if you were the Panarin, are we going to say how many points would Panarin have without Patrick Kane? There would be a few less points.
Oh yeah, about 15 less points probably.
So
yeah. So how about Crosby getting into the top 20 in scoring right now?
How about who?
Crosby. Sidney Crosby is now 20th in scoring in the NHL, which is a really amazing feat from where he was.
It is. He's got 17 goals. He's picked it right back up. Was it really
what's fascinating about this new way they do it, right? Is that if you're a team, like if you got a player on your team who just is a no miss all-star. Let's say Carlson, for example, from Ottawa, right? Or say Kane from Chicago. There's a darn good chance that Duncan Keith and Seabrook won't see many All-Star games because you suddenly have the way the setup is. There's not a lot of positions, right? And you have to fill it with somebody from every team. So this is like, for example, Bobby Ryan, right? 16th in scoring. He's having a hell of a year. There's no way he's going to make it because Carlson's the representative from Ottawa. And unless the Senators become a top team, which they're not going to be a top team, they can't consider that. So it's crazy. I think you have to be so good for what Ben and Sagan do. That's completely and Taves and Kane. But with Taves and Kane, both are definitive all-stars all the time. So when is Duncan Keith or Crawford or
Keith's been here.
Well, in this current setup, in this current setup with the three on.
Yeah, but I'm saying in this current setup, as this goes, Duncan Keith and Seabrook, aren't going to be all-stars.
Something funny? The hockey ops people are going to pick the person who goes in, right? If I were the hockey ops person, I would pick completely off the board from everybody we've talked about, and I would take Nikolai Ehlers. Because at the end of the day, he would probably win it for me because he's one of the most exciting skating guys in the league. And 3-on-3, he would electrify the crowd. He's got 12 goals. He's not like ripping it up. But I'm telling you.
You're forgetting the point of the All-Star game. It's not who's the most deserving. It's
I know.
But they're playing it for money. But they're playing it for money now. It's different.
I talked to a player today. The first player I've talked to. A lot of players have told me that they don't know how serious it's going to be. They don't know how hard they're going to go. I talked to a player today who says that people are going to be surprised. He thinks that these players, and that's exactly my theory. And I said it to him, and he completely agreed that the ego involved here is going to get big in this 3-on-3 game, and it is going to get very competitive. There are going to be players who are going to be upset about some hits that are maybe thrown or things like that happen in certain situations.
If that's the case, watch out for Leo Komarov dropping a couple bombs on somebody from the from the Metro Division because he's relentless, and if they're actually playing anywhere close to like an NHL game, which I don't think they're going to, he'll be laying out hits.
Guys, Shea Weber, look out for because also he's in Nashville, but Shea Weber's not going to play this thing down.
No. Here's the one thing the All-Star Game's sort of missing now is when they used to have the young stars factor, that used to be great because we used to get to see some of that really good young talent. Now you got a chance to put someone in there. Like if I were the coach, Nikolai Ehlers would be fantastic because he'd be the fastest guy in the ice, the fastest guy there. You wouldn't find anybody faster, and 3-on-3 is right up his alley.
Really, honestly, I don't know why they don't expand this to...
Or have a rookie team play against...
Yeah, or to more players. Like, when you think about it, and this could happen because these guys are going to get exhausted, right? There's going to be a tiring thing here. So you could actually have 2 teams from each division very easily in this thing and have them each play 10 minutes and just have, there's ways instead of playing a 20-minute game because if you played 2 10-minute games, you would have way more excitement than you're going to have. There is going to definitely be a tiring aspect to this, and younger players are going to win out. And I think Ekblad's going to be enormously big in this game. I mean, he's going to be one of these guys. Like these guys who can play literally the entire game all the time and are used to it. A lot of these defensemen, it's going to be a different type of game for them. It's going to be really. It's going
to be hard on the defensemen and goalies. And me, I would want like the young, fast guys. That's who I would want.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Draisaitl's another one. That I would think about for this game. I mean,
But again, you're thinking about the game as a competitive game, and this is.
Well, I guess it's going to be competitive if they're playing for money, Mike.
I think it's right. But the thing is that the rosters have been chosen as a showpiece game, so this is it's more of a showpiece game than it is a competitive game.
It's fair.
Yeah, no, it's a showpiece game, but well, yeah. I mean, let's move on to rumors. But we'll talk about this more as we get there.
Wait, who's selling more jerseys? Panarin, Ehlers, or Steen? I don't think any of those guys are selling jerseys, so I don't think that this last pick.
I think there's a love affair with Panarin. I do. I think that I think he's really grabbed the attention And because the guys, he also just, it's interesting, like one of these guys who can barely speak any English, but really has like such emotion on the ice.
How many black practice jerseys will John Scott sell?
Yeah. Yeah. We almost got through the show without John Scott. All right. Okay. Here we go. Moving on. Let's talk rumors for a second. Eriksson. Loui Eriksson has been really one of these guys I've been talking about all year. Talked about the possibilities of Loui Eriksson being moved, and then it looked like it wasn't going to happen. It looked like they were going to keep him. Eriksson's having a really strong year as a UFA, and now suddenly, in the last like 48 hours, I don't know if they put out word that they were going to trade him or whatever, but everybody I'm talking to is like, yeah, Loui Eriksson's available. So it's as if they've decided that they're going to move Loui Eriksson. For sure, and it's a tough one to move because first off the Bruins are in a playoff race. They have a shot at this, and he's on pace for about a 30-goal season. So that's yet you also look around and you say, okay, he's been so up and down. He's had a concussion history. He is, are you going to sign him long term? Are you going to just go with him for the rest of the year? You don't want to lose him for nothing, but at the same time, I don't think I really don't. I'm just not of the belief that you lose guys for nothing. I really just don't subscribe to that anymore. I'd rather, if I'm the Bruins, I'd rather take a shot to make the playoffs with them than just trade him for very little. Although now suddenly, if what I wrote about today is true, like if a Sami Vatanen's available for him, then that does change everything, right?
But the thing is, Anaheim is not trading Sami Vatanen with an RFA. I know they're going to have to pay him, but they're not going to trade him for a rental. It's got to be more than that.
There would be more than that, but the more than that is not really is significant. But remember, this Ducks team is beyond the Predators. Has this incredible depth on defense, and when they're healthy, and they've been telling everybody this, and it's not everybody's written about it. When we're healthy, we're going to move a defenseman. They're going to move a defenseman. Is it Vatanen? Sorry to bore you, Mike. Is it Vatanen or whatever? I think. I think Vatanen could be the guy. I've always been a Vatanen fan. So now suddenly, if you're the Bruins, you really have to look at that. This is a trade you have to look at.
Well, they definitely need to up. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Russ.
No, that's something that they desperately need. Eriksson's a nice player. He's a good skill guy. He's not really fast, and so at the end of the day, I think with the Bruins and look, that game yesterday, yeah, you could say it was goaltending, but also when they have to play back-to-back or 2 out of 3, their defense gets exposed, and that's where they're going to need someone like this to really give them a good chance. Because if otherwise, if they don't add to their defense, how far can they really go?
Right. Yeah. They need to add to their defense not only for this year, but for down the road, because Seidenberg and Chara are, your number one defenseman after they retire is Torrey Krug. They need a defenseman, a young defenseman, to put in the place of what Dougie Hamilton was. Yep. And if it's Vatanen or Lindholm or whoever the Ducks decide to trade, it makes sense. But it also, and Eriksson would help them in terms of scoring, but it would have to be more, maybe a draft pick, maybe a prospect. Malcolm Subban's name has been out there for a while. I don't know that Anaheim actually needs a goaltender.
No.
They don't, but it's an asset that you can end up trading. That's the whole point. You can't just be a rental for a guy who's an RFA simply because they don't want to pay him. They're going to have to give him more than just that.
Yes, they will. They'll have to, and that is the question. The one team I've heard about with rentals, the rental that actually could do a rental for a draft pick, because Boston's put out there that they would like a first-round draft pick, and the problem with that is obviously it's great, right? First of all, he's a rental.
First rounder for Eriksson?
Yes.
Wow.
And the only kind of first rounders you're going to get are from teams at the bottom of the first round, and those kind of teams.
Someone who's got 2.
Yeah, or someone has 2, and those teams really aren't needing Eriksson. That's like the teams that need Eriksson are the teams that are in the playoff hunt, like Detroit could possibly be. Like the Detroit's in there.
And the teams that have low first-round picks aren't going to be able to accommodate Eriksson's larger salary. Obviously I'm fixated and focused on the Leafs. I think the Leafs have a better chance of getting a low first from a Washington or a Dallas for a guy like Komarov if they decide to trade him, because he's got term left on his deal, he's having a good year, and his salary is under $3 million. Trying to fit in Eriksson's salary and get a first-round pick that to me that's near impossible.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Ek, because I know a lot of this goes on. So, Pittsburgh and New Jersey are pretty much neck and neck. I mean, Pittsburgh's got games in hand, but whatever. They're neck and neck. How much would Ray Shero love to bounce out his old team by making a big move at the deadline and move ahead of them? There would be some real smiling going on from his office, don't you think?
I think so too, and I talked to some people about this the other day. I said, could New Jersey going to go the other way? Could they go into the seller mode? And like Lee Stepniak, for example, he's had a great year.
Yeah.
And I was told, and Palmieri, that they've got players who've had great. And I was told that the Devils want to make the playoffs really badly. That there's a feeling of like that we can still do it. The Devils owner really wants to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're pushing them. I think that could happen. I think and they've got so much space to do stuff. They have really a lot of maneuverability. They've got some prospects, as you know.
Shero's been good with trades. I mean, nobody in Pittsburgh would ever complain about his trades, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I mean, no one would. On that note for a second, Rutherford, by the way, has kind of come back from the dead in trades. I mean, with the Hagelin trade.
We'll see if it goes long term. He's got.
Hagelin and Daly were two really good moves. I mean, both of them worked out well for them.
I mean, because Scuderi was not really doing anything for the Penguins. He was a bottom-pairing defenseman. I mean, it benefited both teams in the sense that Daly didn't fit with the Hawks, and his salary was preventing them from doing things. They get Pittsburgh to retain salary on Scuderi, so they open up cap space, and Daly helps the Penguins with another puck-rushing defenseman. He's not the world's greatest defenseman in the world, but he's a good ad. And Hagelin has fit in so far. But honestly, I don't think they're done either. I think they're hot. They don't need to make moves, but their defense is still a problem area. And other than trading, now they can't trade their first round pick because it's tied to Toronto through the Kessel deal, but they can trade prospects like Pouliot or trade Matt Murray. I wouldn't doubt that Pittsburgh takes that step because they're all in right now and they need to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parento is another one to look at right now. I've been following him. I've been tracking him. He's his name's come up really hot lately. The Maple Leafs. Go ahead.
Sorry.
The Maple Leafs have gotten a lot out of them that they want to get out of him. As far as he's done exactly what you want him to do. He's played very well. He's really had a rebirth after a really dismal ending in Colorado. So now basically what I've heard so far on Parento, is I've heard again the Ducks name mentioned because the Ducks are trying to do this, but I think that what more leaning towards this as far as today is St. Louis looking at Parento. St. Louis, who was really in on Jonathan Durant, there are still people who believe Jonathan Durant will be moved by the deadline. I'm not one of them right now, but
Parento is a cheap option.
Parento is your quicker fix, cheaper option. You don't have to deal with long term, and he's a really an ideal rental in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And he's going to get them time. I mean, and he's not going to get him a first-round draft pick, but he's going to get him something significant.
He'll get him he could get him a second, maybe a second.
I think second is legit. I do think that. I think second is legit.
The funny thing is, I think, and we have to be on the lookout for this. Lou Lamoriello, after the 5-game losing streak that the Leafs had, according to a couple reports, started making his phone calls regarding trades early. It's not inconceivable that they've lost 8 of their last 9.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, I agree with you. I've been hearing this for a couple weeks to look to Toronto and Anaheim to make moves early. Those two teams are the two teams that would make their moves early, and Anaheim did make one. But yeah, they're going to make moves soon. They don't have to wait for the deadline. It's not, even though you're in it, you're still their whole plan has always been what it has been. It's been pain, and it's been less painful than they probably expected.
I can see Roman Polak being traded right after the All-Star break because he's a shot blocking defenseman, a rough and tumble guy. A guy like that can get hurt. You're just risking the possibility of him getting injured before the deadline, which is now almost 4 weeks, or over 4 weeks away. That guy you don't wait till the last minute because you could lose the opportunity to trade him. I think that they could trade him maybe the week after the All-Star break.
I mean, what about the teams in New York? Does the winner of the trading deadline make the playoffs and the loser not? I mean, it could turn out that way.
Yeah. No, which brings up the whole Yandel for Shattenkirk rumor that I heard, Russ. I mean, is there anything to that? Do you think? Does that make any sense at all?
Well, I mean, I guess the Rangers could fit him in long term if he's not going to ask for $8 million. But otherwise, I don't see how they're going to fit him in with McDonough, Stahl, and Girardi if nobody moves.
Right. There would have to be another move there.
It's just moving the decision on a year. I mean, because Shattenkirk's got one more year, and obviously Yandel moves on after this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Connecticut kid. Obviously, he'd love playing there, but you're kicking the can down the road.
Right.
Yeah, unless you can find some way of trading a Girardi or trading a Stahl in the off season to a team that needs a defenseman.
But they have no movement clauses, no trade clauses. Like, they're really
right. They're stuck.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say is this: is to keep a close eye out on Carolina and deadline, not just for the for what we're looking at for Stahl and for Cam Ward. I don't know that Cam Ward is movable, although he would be a really interesting option in Montreal. Somebody brought that up to me the other day.
With the concussion, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, the concussion I think is going to.
Yeah, the concussion really hurts definitely right now, but they are in a similar situation as Toronto in that they can take on some salary, and as this whole thing plays out, if they move Ward and they move Stahl, they will suddenly be almost, and they might be under the floor, as someone said to me. I mean, they're going to be that close.
But the complicating factor is right now they're a point out of the playoffs?
No, they're in it right now, and they're going to keep going. But even
they'll probably take somebody back in salary act that'll keep them just at the floor so they don't lose the revenue sharing. I can't believe they would make that mistake.
No, they'll stay above the floor, but they're going to be so close to the floor they're going to have to consider that. And if there's a player that you want to dump somehow, like for the rest of the year, a UFA that's a pending UFA that you'd like to move out, that they can just take on for the rest of the year, that they could take into a trade as well. That's the kind of thing I think you could say.
They can accomplish the same thing by retaining 50% of the salary.
True. Right. They could, and but there's options there. I think, and we're going to see some things out of Carolina. I think we're still going to see them make a run. I mean, I honestly think that they're in that spot where they could make a run. They've been solid.
I'm genuinely shocked that they've played great in January, and it's like if they continue to play this way, which I doubt. I mean, but everybody, it's a collective effort. Ward is out, Eddie Lack is playing great. They're getting great performances right now. If they stay in it, how can Ron Francis go out and say, okay, I'm going to cut the heart out of this team and trade Eric Stahl? It will be a public relations disaster in Carolina.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. They're in a really weird spot. But well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. Stay tuned on the time. Could be moving around a little bit. Just getting some text here that may have to move the show around tomorrow a little bit to the later in the day, but we'll find out for sure. But definitely thanks so much for watching. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We will talk to you soon. We're going to study our all-star rosters.
Yes, we're going to really pour over them now.
Commit them to memory.
Yeah, I won't get any sleep tomorrow.
Great.